Now recording is start. Welcome to Rajesh Sahasrabuddhe from Rezoomex. Rezoomex is a generative AI and Hyperledger Fabric based gig worker economy platform. And today we talking about GenAI enabled smart contract driven development using Hyperledger. And Rajesh is going to share more detail on this one. Over to you, Rajesh.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Kamlesh. Morning all, and welcome to this session on generative AI-enabled smart contract-driven development. And also thanks for attending on a Saturday morning. And of course, maybe afternoon, depending on where you are. So let's get started. I'll share the screen. Okay, my screen is visible, right?
Yeah, it's visible.
Great. Yeah. So as the name suggests, we will be demonstrating a real use case of a smart contract deployed on Hyperledger Fabric blockchain platform using generative AI. So I'll be taking this session in three parts. So as Kamlesh initially introduced. So first I'll be talking a little bit about our company, Rezoomex, of course, also our product. Then about the actual use case on a theoretical, in a theoretical perspective. So what we are going to achieve in this use case. And finally, the workshop. So workshop in the sense I'll be actually uh, doing all of these steps on Fabric platform and executing all the chain code, everything. So generating using generative AI and all these steps. Okay, so that will be the workshop part. So this way, so just as a brief thing, it will be in these three parts. Okay. So briefly about myself, my name is Rajesh Sahasrabuddhe. I work with Rezoomex in the capacity of principal consultant NFT marketplace. I'm into this blockchain field now for past 3+ years, primarily into Ethereum and Hyperledger Fabric. Then let's start about our company, Rezoomex, brief introduction. Mr. Vinayak Zoglekar is our founder. He is a serial entrepreneur, and after his last successful exit, he decided to focus on Rezoomex, where we deal with these commonly found problems in the IT industry, right? Which most of us are aware. That is the unethical practices like quiet quitting, absconding, last minute dropouts like taking an offer and not joining at the end. So all of these issues. Actually, we address this via our product. Okay, so I'll come to that. Our product encourages ethical working in software professionals, and obviously it has a deterrent for wrong practices. So this screenshot shows actually a cool looking avatar. So it all starts with your resume. So using our product, you can first convert your CV into this nice looking NFT. It has a nice avatar, cool name. Okay, and so basically this step actually rewards these ethical software professionals after doing their ranking and evaluation. So we actually look at your CV, we will rank it, evaluate it, and award certain tokens to you. So that is where the blockchain part also comes into picture. So you can see down here, right, this 120 caliber tokens which are staked, etc. So what we do is this reward is in the form of these tokens, which indirectly signifies your caliber. That is, we have several factors which we use to decide the caliber, and accordingly we award these caliber tokens. Okay. Now these are in your wallet. So for every candidate, these tokens will sit in that candidate's wallet, and then these can be used to stake on others. So it's a platform which has got a lot of features like staking, unstaking. Then there are passive income opportunities. Now this product is blockchain based, so you can leverage the blockchain platform's inherent advantages. That is trustlessness, immutability of transactions, decentralization, use of DAO, etc. So now this is just a brief overview, of course, not a major topic of this discussion, but just wanted to give a brief idea about what our platform does. Just one quick so this diagram shows actually the overall so this platform architecture at a high level. So there are companies, there are consultants, okay, and there is a consortium. So I'll explain this little bit in the next part also, where we talk about the blockchain architecture of our platform. So here there are smart contracts using which these companies and the gig workers will actually uh, get into a contract, executed, etc. Again, that is also a major part of today's discussion, which I'm showing how we are automating that. So this smart contract, so you enter into a smart contract and you get paid for the work done. Okay. So now just a couple of slides on this gig work economy, because that is because our product is particularly relevant and useful for the gig workers. So just showing a couple of slides on that. Now, as we all know, this gig work economy, which is really coming, I mean, that is coming up very fast, and it's only growing. I mean, there is a lot of interest in doing gig work. And what we have seen, I mean, we have done all these numbers we got from various sources. What this shows is there is a lot of interest. So a lot of people are already doing gig work. It's not it's not something very new. As you can see, a lot of people are doing it already. They are interested in doing it. Uh, so this gig work economy as such is really growing very fast, and we offer basically we are addressing this economy. That is, we are offering advantages compared to some other freelancing platforms in terms of immediate credibility of the candidate built on his or her own talent square. So basically, I talked about those caliber tokens, right? So these tokens, which are given to the candidate, directly impact that candidate's marketability. Because as we are aware, in certain other platforms, you have to first build your reputation. So I'm talking about these freelancing platforms, right, which mostly gig workers use. So there you have to initially build your reputation by maybe doing some compromise on your billing rates, etc., so that your rating is built and then your marketability becomes better. Whereas in our case, it is not that way. It is solely based on your own CV. So your CV will decide your caliber, and that will help you find job, not job necessarily, I mean, find work on our gig work platform. So that way we are helping to get started quickly. Okay. So unlike these other platforms, we don't have to do, so the candidate doesn't have to do any compromise here by working on any lower rates, etc. You can straight away get started from there. Okay. Now let's, uh, with this introduction, now let's come to the main topic. Okay, so as I said, like we have leveraged the blockchain technology to provide this unique service offering in terms of smart contract driven development, which I'll be now talking about. First, I will give a brief overview of our blockchain architecture. That is the blockchain architecture at Rezoomex. So we use the very popular Hyperledger Fabric permission blockchain, and the main stakeholders. The main stakeholders here are the gig workers, company which we talked about, and the validators. So basically, the node owners, the consortium members. Okay? Now, this is a high-level architecture. So the API layer we use is on Node.js. We are using Auth2 security. The implementation is, as I said, like on Fabric. The resume. So now the main components in our system. So the candidate CV that is in the form of NFT. Now we have two tokens, which I will come to that in the next slide. So two types of tokens. They have different usage. The database is level DB, and we are deploying on EKS using HLF operator. So on tokenomics, so as I said, we have this dual token system. This caliber tokens I talked about already, so as I said, that helps candidates to get a good score and good marketability in the gig worker market. And the other type of token, which is this Rezo token, these are actually holding monetary value. So these Rezo tokens we will be using for doing all the payments within our ecosystem. So the use case, right, from company's wallet to the gig workers wallet, these such payments or any other payments. So the monetary value token in our ecosystem are Rezo tokens. So I'll just also explain a little bit more about these two tokens. So Caliber, as I said, it has no value. I mean, no monetary value. So ERC20 compliant and all these things, all these other properties like transfer allowed, staking, unstaking allowed. So we have this very useful feature of staking. So again, a part of how people can earn some passive income. So if you have Caliber tokens and you have staked on others, that helps you earn some passive income in one of the ways in our platform. Again, I won't go much in deep into that because not the scope of this discussion. But all of these features are facilitated via these properties of Caliber tokens. Next is Rezo tokens. So these Rezo tokens will be using in today's demo. So these are, so as I said, these are having actual money. So so they can be either pegged to a fiat currency, or we can even use the CBDC once it becomes programmable. Again, these are ERC20 compliant, and here you can't stake kind of. These are only used for payments. So these will hold real value, and you can pay members in our ecosystem using Rezo tokens. So finally, who benefits? So like using our platform, I think this I covered already a little bit. So the gig workers, it helps them to get a good job marketability, good credit rating, etc. Using Rezo tokens, people get paid. There is so like this event. So as I said, like there are multiple ways you get paid. Like one simple example is viewing your CV. So in most of the platforms, your CV is just visible to anybody. You really don't get paid for that, right? So someone sees your CV, that's fine. I mean, that person will look at it and might contact you. Whereas in our platform, we have, so again, not a very significant payment, but still, like if someone wants to know who you are, wants to see your CV, wants to interact with you, there is a small payment aspect there. Okay, so you get paid for all these actions. The company benefits because again, we have all this pool of verified and good candidates. Again, company also gets, so again, the payment ecosystem, they can benefit from it. And these node owners, so obviously the sense of ownership they get, so they get paid based on various events. We have got a lot of these percentages which get paid to this the node owners. Okay. So just one thing, that is, we have a Q&A in the end anyway, but if anyone wants to stop me in between and ask any question, that is also okay. I'll take those questions. Okay. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. So now this is where we start. So I finished with the first part about the introduction, etc. And now let's start with the actual use case. Okay. So starting with the background. So what we are going to do today is this particular use case of a gig worker getting paid from a company after doing a certain work. Okay. After successfully doing a certain work. That is meeting all the pre-agreed criteria. Now we have taken certain most popular or most commonly used criteria here, but you can define these criteria like typically how you decide whether a gig worker has successfully completed a certain work, right? So what we assume here is the lowest granular level entity will be a story. Okay, so the deliverable can be split into clearly defined stories, need to be quantifiable in terms of the success parameters. Okay, now any story will have these parameters which we have considered in our use case. Of course, this is all flexible in terms of we can add these parameters or remove, but these are the ones we are considering for this demo. Okay, so typically mostly used things or these parameters in a development will be, so one of them will be the development environment itself, right? So let's say there is a Java or a .NET development to be done, and so the company asks the gig worker to do that in a certain environment, maybe a Docker environment or any environment which could be defined in a YAML or a env file. Okay, so this file will define exactly on which platform, which environment that gig worker has to complete the work. So we need all these parameters because later on, if anything changes, then the smart contract will not execute. Okay, so the payment won't happen. So I'll come to that. So first, let's define the criteria. So this is the first one. Secondly, the unit test. So again, this is a very important test, right, to confirm that the work is done successfully. So so again, the unit test aspect has two parts. One is the number of unit tests. So let's say I'm a gig worker and I sign up a contract with a company saying I will be completing this work, which will pass 10 unit tests. Okay, so that number 10 will be recorded as a part of the initial agreement. Okay, but that's not enough, right? So I can just agree for 10 tests and I can just do any 10 tests. Like let's say there are certain tests which I need to pass, and later I just change one of the tests to a different one, maybe an easier one. So still the number meets the 10 unit tests is correct, but then it is not exactly passing what was agreed. Okay, so to ensure that constraint also is met, we have this third criteria. So every unit test content must be properly stated and defined. So this will be again a set of unit tests that will be part of the TNC, the terms and conditions of the agreement. Okay. Then the duration. So again, another very important aspect, that is how in how many days you should complete the work. So the gig worker uh, agrees, let's say, to complete the work in 5 days. Okay, so that is captured. And finally, the amount. So assuming everything happens, assuming all these uh, criteria are successfully met, the gig worker should get paid a certain amount. So that amount will be paid in Rezo dollars. So that is the Rezo tokens. So this last paragraph, that is, the agreed amount will be paid in Rezo, subject to the story meeting all agreed criteria. This will be done in a trustless environment. That's where the smart contracts will all these agreed conditions, everything will be in a smart contract, and that will execute only if these conditions are met. If any one condition is not met, or anything is slightly changed, so let's say you agreed for 10 unit tests and you did only 9, okay, then the smart contract won't execute and the payment won't happen. Again, this is all customizable. Currently, I mean, we can always argue that okay, like even if 9 tests are passing, why don't we pay a little bit? Okay, so this is all possible. We can define it, but as of now, these conditions need to be strictly met. Okay. So the use case, so like after this slide, I'll be actually doing the workshop. So what we'll do is we'll take these numbers, okay, and we will complete the workshop based on all these defined criteria. Okay, so the company and gig worker agree that the gig worker completes a story called story 01, just a name, as per these conditions. So in 4 days, it has to be completed. A certain environment in which is defined in this file. Number of unit tests is 4. Now, again, what unit tests? So like we have to define the content of the unit test, which is in this file. And finally, assuming all this happens, the gig worker will get paid 10 Rezo dollars. Okay. So this is the use case we will be demonstrating today. So the flow. So actually, I'll be doing these steps next after this. So just a recap of what I'll be doing. So initially, we have to register these people, right? So we will be registering the company in the system, because only when you register you get a wallet. Otherwise you can't get paid, right? You need a wallet. So you register the company and the gig worker. Now, because the company is going to pay $10, let's say the company first buys $15 from Rezoomex, okay, so that they load their wallet with that amount. The initial balance will be company 15 and gig worker 0. That is the starting position. Then we register this story called story 01 as per this the terms and conditions on the previous slide. So it will store these parameters. So basically we are hashing it. So uh, like as we know, on the blockchain side, always we try to minimize what we store, right? So we will hash this and store so that we don't use too much of space. Now, the success message. Now, here is where the AI part comes in. So, it actually generates a prompt. Okay, that prompt will be part of the success message once this story gets registered. It gives you a ready-made prompt. You can use that prompt and go to the GitHub Copilot, and using the prompt, you generate a smart contract. So here we don't. So since we are using Gen AI, we are not actually doing any coding. Okay, the Gen AI will do the coding for you. So now we use Golang as our chain code language. So uh, once this prompt comes, it will create uh, uh, this smart contract code in Golang language using GitHub Copilot. So which I'll demonstrate, and then that gets deployed. So we have a script which deploys it on blockchain, and so that now it sits on the blockchain, this smart contract. Then the gig worker, so let's say this 4 days, so we have agreed for 4 days, right? So the gig worker completes the work within say 3 days, okay, and approaches the company for payment. The smart contract will execute, but then it will check, obviously, before executing, that is, it will check whether all these parameters are met. Means if anything has changed, then this hash will change. So there won't be any payment happening. Otherwise, if everything is agreed, as agreed is correct, then the smart contract will pay. So it will pay this whatever agreed amount, $10 from company's wallet to the gig workers wallet. Now, of course, we have all the checks and controls in terms of no double payment should happen. Like once it is paid, this smart contract is gone, so it can't pay again. Okay, so which I'll demonstrate also. So the final position after this step will be the company first had $15, right? 15 rezo, which now gets reduced to 5 because it has paid 10 to gig worker, and the gig workers balance is now 10. Okay. So yeah, so after this, I will actually, I'll stop this PPT presentation and go to the workshop. There is one final slide which I'll explain after we are done. So how we are using this reflection feature, which is a very powerful feature of Golang for all this dynamic stuff. Okay, but this will be more clear once we are done with the workshop. Okay, so I will. Okay, so I'm starting with the workshop now. Maybe I'll pause a little bit. If there is any question, I'll take. Otherwise, I'll continue.
So, no, I think there's no question yet. I think maybe or any question you can ask in the chat.
Or you can just ask me directly because
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the session. So this NFT is what you are creating based on the gig worker's resume and his credentials and various experiences and other activities. So what is the guarantee that this the stated details are accurate? That is one. And number two, what exactly is NFT?
So to answer the first part, we are not creating the NFT based. So the resume content, we don't put it in the NFT. Okay, so in fact, I'm going to create this NFT now in front of you anyway. This first step is creating the NFT. So in the NFT, all we put is this. Okay, the number of caliber token. So okay, first I need to answer your second part of the question, which is like how we are ensuring that these resumes are valid, right? I mean, the content is valid. So for that, we have a proper structure. That is, we have a team. And we use a lot of AI stuff. That is, we take that resume, we call those people. Okay, we also have things like some tests to give, and we have a team which ensures and verifies all the information. So it is not that blindly we are accepting what is given. We have a proper structure in place to ensure that the CV is accurate. Okay, but that is a separate team. Okay, that is a team which does that part. And on the blockchain side, what we store as NFT is this. So we only take this because obviously the resume part, we don't have to put it on the blockchain, right? Because as we all know, we have to keep the blockchain side as light as possible. So we take only these things. So the caliber, so the number of caliber tokens, then the name, okay, name of the. So here we have this company. Otherwise, the name of the candidate. Then we only take these three because we need to also. Yeah, we also do the KYC part. Okay, so we have to have the ID. So it could be your Aadhaar or PAN, then date of birth, and the validator is actually the node owner. So that's a separate thing. So we take these parameters and we put that in the NFT. So the NFT contains this, not the actual CV content. Okay.
And I think to add on to Rajesh and share, so what we're doing, we doing the proper onboarding process to validate the uh, candidate's profile or the LinkedIn profile, and there is a proper dedicated onboarding team is there. And then uh, also we are keep monitoring in terms of the kind of Google or any of the information about the technology. Let's say how we going to score caliber for the candidate. That depending on the skills and the availability of the skill and the importance of the. Let's say for example, GenAI for example is the current is trending. So the people who are having a GenAI skill is going to be more caliber compared to others. So we are doing this, and there's a regularly cron jobs running which serves the data in internet, and then define the particular CV's credential, like how we come to the caliber score for the profile. And there are some aptitude tests we defined or some tests also there to, and then give the score calibers.
And yeah, actually what Kamlesh said is right. So for the score part, we also do a lot of scraping over internet in terms of many sources. Again, we use a lot of AI there. So which skill is in demand? We have a weekly status where the skills in demand are shown, and accordingly the number of caliber tokens to be awarded, that changes based on what is in more demand. So we have a lot of process around that. Okay, so again, not exactly scope of this discussion, but yeah, we have that process which ensures that all these numbers are accurate. Okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
there are any counter question to that one? I think who asked the question?
Thank you. Understand. And brief about the NFT, non-fungible token. I understand. What exactly is it and how?
So again, it is not a classical NFT which we can trade on some OpenSea or something, right? So not that, because again, this is an internal object, no? So all we are doing it, we are storing that in the blockchain. But so we wanted to do the NFT standard because in future, see currently this NFT it only sits in our system. So from outside you don't do anything with it because it's your CV only, right? So why someone else will buy your CV? I mean, why? So there is nothing to trade on your NFT outside. So we could have done it in any format, but the NFT format we are choosing because obviously we just want to make it compatible in future with the NFT standard. So in future, let's say we need to do some integration of this NFT with something else, then it becomes easy. Okay. Otherwise, currently you can consider it as just a JSON formatted thing, okay, which is
And then
stored.
I think to more in detail, like this NFT, we just given an NFT, but there is no NFT. It's simply the unique identifier for the candidate. That's it. And but why we chosen the NFT standard? Because let's say today is Rezoomex, but maybe in the future there could be such kind of platform will be available. So we want to give the interoperability to the candidate. Say one candidate who minted the NFT and caliber in this platform. It could be also flexible and available to the other platform. So he no need to do the KYC and other stuff and other caliber score. Let's say his caliber score in my Rezoomex is different and other from is different. To bring that interoperability, we define, let's say, one standard. So if couple of such platform come in the future, so they could able to interoperable, and the candidate is flexible to choose the platform where they're working, and they can export and import their calibers and their scores according to those platforms.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And I there are a couple of questions in the chat that you're also going to address.
Oh.
Any question live who want to ask?
No, no, I just wanted to ask whatever was on the chat itself. Like, I was just curious to understand. You mentioned that GenAI is one of the trending, uh, skills, right? And you assign a high caliber to it. But I was just wondering if there are only specific skill sets that you're looking for, to host on your platform, or any kind of jobs can be taken up. And if any kind of job is taken up, then how do you even, first of all, define the job requirements for the smart contract to assess that, okay, it is completed? And the second thing is, requirements change, right? Like as we progress. So is the smart contract dynamic enough to handle those changing requirements also, is what I wanted to know.
So the last part I'll answer first. So it is not a dynamic. So it is like, so as you will see now in this workshop, once we define it, it has to be met. Okay. Again, as I said, this is all flexible in terms of we can customize it. Like we can keep a percentage of, so let's say, so I think this case I also talked about earlier, right? So 10 unit tests. It is okay. Sometimes the company might say that, okay, even if you pass 9 unit tests, it's fine. Or maybe the environment a little bit changed is also okay. So we can actually have a percentage variance criteria, which is not yet there currently. The only thing which we have, the only flexibility is in the number of days. So I'll come to that later. So let's say we agreed to complete the work in 5 days, and for some reason the gig worker could not complete in 5 days, right? But that was completed successfully. So for some reason it took 10, say 6 days. Then we have a override option which actually allows the gig worker to get paid regardless of like exceeding that time frame, but still rest of the parameters are correct, because the company may be saying that, okay, I mean, as far as it is successfully delivered, we will pay even if it takes couple of days more. So that is only flexibility we currently have. But yeah, I mean, we can of course add other flexibilities, not a problem. But as of now, this is it. And to your first part of the question, right? So see, it is not just GenAI. Actually, as I said, right, we have this process. So every week we are scraping so much data. So now we have a very large database of lot of skills. Okay, we have a team. They go and I mean, their only job is this only. Like so every week they'll be looking at what skills are there, what is in
No, but these are strictly technical skills only, right? Like if you want someone to write a script for your play or something, that is not something we are handling right now. Is that the case?
This is only technical. So
Okay.
non-tech, no, yeah,
So,
this is only.
so Deepika,
I-
currently all this is done for the technical, or where we have some quantifiable uh, test cases achievement. Let's say if you complete this script and this give result this one, this is quantifiable. Or let's say you complete this white paper, or you complete this task. This is quantifiable, but the logical reasoning thing is not there currently.
Okay, got it. So that leads me to the other question. I think someone had already asked on chat. I think Arya or someone else. They had asked, how do you verify the authenticity of the work, right? So let's say you define the requirement that you need 10 unit test cases to be written and passed. How do you know that those are the correct test cases? Is there some human intervention involved at all, or do you like handle it completely only through smart contracts?
So we are capturing the unit test content also. So maybe
Okay.
once I do this demo, right?
And I
So
think that
it will be
Rajesh, you
clear,
do
huh?
demo, then they
Maybe,
will.
Okay.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah. That works. That works. Yeah.
because
Thank you.
that will help get
Sure,
things
sure.
clarified.
Yes, yes.
So, okay, so let's start. The first step is, so let's create first these two wallets. In fact, these two entities, register them. So let's say this company is ABC Private Limited, and now being a company, it won't have a birth date, but maybe it is. So this is a say registration date, and so these are the details. So we actually, so now just one thing, I'll be showing all of this in using Postman, because I'm directly showing the blockchain side, not the fully integrated to the UI, because finally it won't be this way, right? So that there will be a UI which will be uh, passing all these parameters, and blockchain will execute at the backend. But to make it easy for the demo, I'm only directly showing at the blockchain level. That's why all these Postman jobs I'm running. Okay. So yeah, so first we create this. one second. I don't know why the send button is not clickable. Just give me a minute. Maybe is it because of the screen sharing? Let me just stop sharing for a minute, okay? And I'll
Yeah,
start
see,
again.
this one.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, when I stopped sharing, I was able to click. So let's see why that problem.
But I think it's strange, right? How it will happen?
Yeah, I mean,
How it could be. Or I think maybe you need to give access to this particular application, like it should allow the
okay,
action
yeah.
during the
Maybe, yeah, because I'm just sharing the entire desktop. Instead of that, let me share this this particular screen. Okay.
So anyway, I think Rajesh, you have recorded version 2, right? So we can try that too. If is
No, see, actually, what I found is when I stop sharing, I'm able to click on send. Then what I can do is I'll stop sharing, I'll run this and start sharing again so that I can get this. You can see the results. Okay.
yeah, correct.
Because I don't know that
So yeah,
this is
you
weird.
maybe give the background wise like what you're doing and
Yeah. Okay.
good.
So yeah, so that we can proceed, right? So I'll stop. So now this send button is clickable. So I'm clicking on it. So it's running. Yeah.
I think this is strange. I seen first time like
Yeah,
something.
even I'm see, and I'm able to click here, right? So because I need to now get this wallet ID, right? So now this company is now created. So the next step is I will get this wallet ID and I'll store it in a. So let's say this is the company's wallet ID. Okay, this is the first thing. So this is done. Now we'll go to candidate. Okay. Okay, so let's say this is candidate Rajesh K and birth date, all of that. Okay, so now we have to register this candidate. So, okay, again, sorry. Okay, ready. Yeah. So now we have got both the wallets. So this one. Git worker. So now these two wallets we will Now let's first check their Rezo balance, which has to be 0 because initially this maybe let me wait a little bit here at the send button if it allows. No, sorry. So I'll again stop sharing. So let me explain what I've done. So this is a uh, function which reads the Rezo balance. So because we just created these two entities, right? The company and the gig worker. I'm just confirming that their initial balances are 0. So this is the wallet ID of the company. So I put it here and clicked on send. So this actually is reading the Rezo balance of company, which is 0. Next is the Rezo balance of candidate, the gig worker. So yeah, so this is also 0. So this ensures that now these two wallets are created with initial balance of 0. Okay. So the next step is the company. We will pay means the company will buy some Rezo dollars from Rezoomex. Okay. So for that we have this pay Rezo function, which actually pays a wallet from the master wallet of Rezoomex. So let's say this is the company's wallet, and so again I'll stop. Yeah, so now this is paying 15. Yeah, so it says, right, success 15 Rezo paid to this wallet. So now if I just run that balance again to reconfirm that this 0 now should change to 15 because we paid 15. Okay. So sorry for this to and fro, but I mean, this is how we can at least move forward. So I'm yeah. So now the Rezo balance is 15. So the company, we paid 15 to company. For the gig worker, it is still 0 because because of course the gig worker will receive from the company, right, based on successful completion of the work done. So now with this background, let's get to the main part, which is register story. Okay. So here, what I'll be doing is the story name. So initially, the use case, right? The gig worker and company agreed that they will that the gig worker will do a certain work in those number of days, pre-agreed number of days, subject to meeting those criteria about unit tests, environment, etc. So I'll just show what I'm doing in terms of capturing these parameters. Okay, so for that, here I have got these these two files. Okay, so the So the chain code and this story. Again, I'm not able to click. Give me a minute again, I'll have to stop. Yeah. So let's say these are the unit tests. Okay. So we are looking at these passing of these unit tests by the gig worker. Okay. So this entire content, I will take this and I'll go to the this hashing function, right? The SHA-256 hashing. So I will put the entire thing here. Okay. So it gives me the hash. So I actually take this hash and this I will put in the unit test content parameter. So once I go back to Postman, we have this unit test content parameter. So this is where now I have to put the hash of all the unit test content. Okay. Now similarly environment. So environment is in this one. So this environment. So this is the environment. So so this could be a YAML file or a env file which describes which environment the gig worker will do the development on. Okay, so again, this I've taken from one of the real examples, and again, I'm taking the entire thing for hashing. Okay, so this is the environment. So this is hashed, and I'll take this and put it under the environment parameter. Okay, so this is how we capture the actual values of unit tests content and the environment content or the environment definition. Okay, now I'll put the okay, so the story name is say story 01. So this is the story name. So the name given to the story, which is to be completed by the gig worker. Company's wallet, I'll take it from here. Company's wallet. Then the gig worker's wallet. So initially the balances are now 15 and 0. Now, okay, so coming back to this, so we define the story name, the company wallet and gig worker wallet we have put here. Number of unit tests is say 4. Okay, and those unit tests content we hashed it, and that is now replaced here. Similarly, the environment which was agreed, that we hashed and we put it here. Okay, the duration is 4 days. So within 4 days, this work has to be completed. And finally, the reso which is agreed to be paid. So say it is 10. So the company will pay 10 reso to the gig worker once all these conditions are met. That is, the work is completed based on all these conditions, right? So once we are ready with the parameters properly put here, we can run this, which actually registers this, right? Registers the story in the system. Oh, good. Finally, I'm able to click. Okay. Something helped. Okay. So let me run this now. Yeah. So so what this has done is all these agreed parameters and everything, this has created this entry for this story with these parameters in the system, but it has to yet create the smart contract. So I mentioned about the prompt, which is auto-generated, right? So that is this. So it says use following command to generate smart contract using GitHub Copilot. So this prompt, this entire prompt is, so I'll pick this up from here. So again, in the because I'm directly doing at backend, I'm doing some of these manual steps, right? The copy paste. Whereas in a real scenario, this will all be integrated. So the system will directly pick up this prompt and take it to the Copilot. So now I'll go to the Copilot, which is here. So this is my GitHub Copilot, and this prompt I will just paste it here, okay? And yeah, and I'll run this. So this is Golang. So the chain code in Golang. So it is creating Golang code. Okay. Right, done. So now I will. I'll take this. So now this code, which is auto-generated, I need to deploy it on blockchain, right? So for that, so we created this story called story01, correct? So I will use the same name. Okay, so that entire code which was generated, I have placed it here because this will be now used to put it on the blockchain.
Hey, Rajesh, one quick question. So for the code that is generated by GitHub Copilot, right? Are we doing any some validations on that code? Like, is the syntax correct or logic correct? Any such thing before we put it on the blockchain and deploy the contract?
Currently, no, because we already, because this Copilot uses, so if you look, okay. See, it uses a reference, right? Use one reference. So we have already similar chain code which is there, and it uses it. Okay, uses it takes help from that, right? It is a Copilot. So, but yeah, to answer your question, we are currently not doing anything in terms of checking the authenticity because it is all automatic, right? It generates that chain code and it is deployable. So we are as of right now not checking that, but we can do. I mean, yeah, I mean we can only do parsing, etc. But currently no.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, so for deploying, I have this script which deploys. So what the script will actually do is it will ask which story name you are deploying. So I will give that name, story01. So it will go and find that file, okay, and the sequence number. So as we know, like when we deploy next, we have to confirm that you are giving the right sequence number. So last time I used 3, so now I use 4. So it's actually now deploying this.
So I had one more question while it deploys. So the prompt that you pasted in GitHub Copilot, right? So like right away, maybe because you had a similar contract before, you know, like in the last line, I saw omit the structure definition or something like that. So if someone is writing code, smart contract for something new, right, and there's no prior reference as such that they have written and they don't know exactly what prompt to write, then how would I mean, won't some kind of prompt engineering be required to generate the correct or at least somewhat correct code? Is that
Yeah,
something that your
actually,
platform takes care of?
no, because see, obviously we use this GitHub Copilot, right? That is not our thing. So you're right in the
Okay.
sense, if we give something new and very different to GitHub, then it may or may not give you the exact correct answer, right? Because here it is mostly repetitive. We have same type of things, right? We have the same requirement, like paying the gig worker based on certain conditions. But generally, what I found is in the beginning when I was doing this, yeah, actually this is a good question, because in the beginning also it came 100% right. So maybe the GitHub Copilot is really good. That's what I'm concluding, because initially it had no reference. So again, I'll just show this again. So now it is using this reference, correct? It is used one reference and this. The only thing I had to tweak was whatever I didn't want. So let's look at this more carefully, that prompt. See, it says generate only. So the only thing I had to tweak was give a correct prompt which gives me only what I want. Like, for example, if I don't say only a function, then it gives me some extra things which I don't want. Then I need to have some parameters which I'm already using in my code, okay, which I tell GitHub that use this and this, okay. Then obviously I have to tell the Copilot that this is the story it needs to generate, I mean, the smart contract, then which wallet, etc. Finally, do not allow send. This was interesting again, like, because so all of these things, I didn't have, so the first time only they worked. That's what I want to say. Like, although technically uh, we might doubt the Copilot that it may not work if it doesn't know. But in reality, for me, when I was doing this, as I gave a more refined this one, the prompt, it actually did the work. So when I said do not allow, so this is a simple English statement, right? Do not allow sender account balance to become negative. So it is actually doing that particular coding, okay? Omit struct declaration, it is omitting that. So what I found is it is really good. I mean, it doesn't because see, when I was doing this, it had no reference. It actually did everything. So in a way, I was also a little bit underestimating the Copilot, but what I found, it does it well. Okay.
Okay, cool. I think I should experiment because I was trying to generate with ChatGPT, and the code that it generated was actually not great, and I had to like re-engineer my prompt very strictly many
Okay.
times.
And
So
then you
that's why I
use
was
this.
just
This
curious.
is nice, actually. This
Yeah,
one.
that's why I was just curious to see how this
And
generally
this
works
is
for the first time.
not very expensive also. Okay, so
Okay.
for this Copilot, right? If you have a GitHub account for Copilot, it's $10 per month. Okay, that is
Okay.
which is reasonable.
Okay.
So $10
per month.
per account, or how it is per account now?
Per account per month, yeah.
Okay, sure, Rajesh. Yeah, continue. Sorry for the interruption.
And no
But
problem. So this, so where I was, yeah. So it has okay. So it has deployed the smart contract. Now I can query this. So I also have this query function, query story. So just to make sure that it is there deployed. So it is deployed. Now this timestamp actually, this parameter, what I'm doing is because we said 4 days, right? So what this timestamp does is it adds 4 days. So 4 days, what I mean is we said no that this story has to be completed within 4 days. Duration is 4 days. So at the story level, we are storing uh, the end date, actually, the deadline date or the deliverable date. So we already add 4 days to the current date timestamp, which is today's 11th May. And what this means is now this particular work has to be completed before this timestamp. Okay, so that not because now I'll be coming to the last step where we actually do the we run this story and make the payment, which is where it will check this timestamp. Okay. So when I come to the run story, so now I'm at the final stage where, let's say the gig worker completed the work and came to the company asking for payment. Okay. That is where this final step will happen. So this is story 01. We have to put the correct wallets again. Number of unit tests was 4, and I'll get those. So first I'm getting the exact parameters, then we will make a slight change and confirm that it won't pay if something changes. Okay. So the unit test content. So we registered the story with this content, right? So for actual payment, I'm first taking the same content here, the unit test content, and the environment. Yeah, that's it. So these are the parameters. Now, this time override, I think I explained this a little back that so this is one flexibility we have. So if this time override is yes, then even if the gig worker completes work after those agreed number of days, it is okay. The gig worker will get paid. If it is n, then you won't get paid. So, so this is the only flexibility we currently have. Okay, so I think I put all the parameters. Now what I'll do is, because now if I run, it will pay. But then I just want to show that if something changes, like we agreed for 4 unit tests. No? So if we did only 3, and then we try to get paid. Okay, the gig worker tries to get paid. So it says error hash changed. So of course, I need to make this error even a little better, but current. So what this means is, because we are hashing everything, right? If anything changes, like let's say put this back to 4, and I change in the end, there was a 8, right? So I make it 9. So what I mean to say is the number of unit tests, something changed in that. So what was agreed, those unit tests are not being executed. So again, if I try to run this, again, it won't allow. Okay. So I'll put the original value. Like similarly, if I try to change something in the environment, then also it won't allow, because it will always hash everything and check against the original hash. If there is anything changed, that hash will change and it won't run. Okay. So let's assume that finally all these parameters are correct, and yeah, and now we are running this. Yeah, so story 01 smart contract executed. So now we can go back and check these reso balances. So now that this is executed, what that means is the company paid 10 reso to gig worker. So now this company's wallet, which is 15 originally, now it has become 5 because it paid 10 reso to gig worker, and at the gig worker level, which was 0 originally, that should change. Yeah, so now it is 10. So this concludes the demo. That is, we have successfully registered the story and executed. So as we can see, like we did not write any chain code here. The entire chain code was generated using this prompt. And also we did not write the prompt. The prompt came from this place, which is when we registered the story. So as you can see, when we register the story, it gives you the prompt. So once we fully automate all of this, right, what will happen is there won't be any manual step at all. So this will register the story. It will take this entire prompt, which is auto-generated. It will use this GitHub Copilot. It will generate the chain code. Then it will take this chain code. It will go to Fabric. It will deploy it, and then finally it can check then that is whether these parameters are met or not during payment. So as I said, like I'm showing everything at the back end. That is the reason I'm doing some of this manually, right? I'm copy pasting and navigating. Otherwise, in a real fully integrated scenario, this will work seamlessly. I mean, without any manual step. And again, as I said before, we can obviously customize, we can improvise and customize things like more flexibility in terms of, say, unit test content and other things, which is of course possible. Okay. And yeah, so this completes the demo. So I'll just come to the last part and then take any questions. This one, right? The container. So what I had to do here, like, see, the main thing about deployment, dynamically deploying, is in Golang. So fortunately, Golang allows this feature called reflection, where even if you change the smart contract and put a dynamic name, like, see, what I want to say is this story 01, this wasn't originally there, right? This we put. This came from the this use case. Now, how do we run dynamically a smart contract which wasn't originally there? So in Golang, fortunately, it allows this feature where it will refer. So it can during runtime it can refer to something which wasn't there earlier, which we put now. So it recognizes that and it will run that smart contract. After it is deployed, it will, so that code will pick up that smart contract correctly for running. Okay, so that is one thing, the reflection feature. And this optimization means, see, ideally when we are deploying, no, we shouldn't, see, we don't want this too many these containers. We don't want to grow it too much, right? Otherwise, it will just become unstable. Like we don't want every time there's too many containers getting created. So instead, so I made a small change to this deploy cc.ch. Now, what happens is it only creates images. Okay, it is not, so the latest image gets picked up, and so I'll just show here. So as you can see, we have three. So we have three pairs. So even after that deployment, we still have these three containers. The only thing is the images is changing. So every time it adds three images, and it only picks up the latest image and uses the same container. But the more important part was this reflection feature, where it is allowing me to do this dynamic stuff. Okay. Yeah. So this is all. So hope it was.
So there are a couple of questions.
Sure.
Which you can take. So I think first one we already addressed, the Arya Kumar. Question will be Seron, what makes blockchain such a suitable technology compared to the conventional software application technique?
Okay, so generic question about blockchain.
Yeah.
So obviously these factors like the immutability, trustlessness here, the gig worker and the company don't have to really know or trust each other. Everything can be handled by a smart contract automatically, which is on blockchain, and it will also do the payments from wallet to wallet. So the basic the inherent advantages of blockchain, no, that we are capitalizing on here. The decentralization.
Correct. So now the Pradeep is asking about the settling the payment of freelancers that we already shown, right? How we doing using the Rezo, and even Rezo could be wrapped with CBDC, and even directly CBDC could be paid instead of directly paying the Rezo tokens.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, so in one of the slides, I said, no, you can always use a programmable CBDC, wrap your Rezo token, or you can directly use a CBDC. Again, that flexibility is there.
Correct. Satpal have a question like, once candidate gets say 10 Rezos after finishing work, how we will get fiat money from it? Is the Rezoomex providing API to get fiat money for that, or he has to go to some exchange?
No, you can come to Rezoomex, yes. So obviously, yeah. So this money will be guaranteed by Rezoomex, no. So you can come to Rezoomex and get paid.
And how we providing guarantee? There we are wrapping with the CBDC token, and even proving some kind of the proof of reserve. So it's not like a cryptocurrency, so or NFT. So there is no liquidity. So even we directly wrapping with the CBDC. Or even if CBDC system is available, then there is no razor at all. It will be directly CBDC.
Then it will be directly CBDC. In fact, that is our preferred option also. Directly use programmable CBDC so that it doesn't have to go through additional steps for payment. Sorry, one thing I missed was this part, which is the checks and so we have got a lot of checks and controls. One of that is if we try to run this story again, right, it will not. So avoiding double payment. So let's say the candidate again comes and says that I want to get paid, but now this story is done. So this smart contract is already executed. So it won't by mistake also pay you twice. Okay?
And Goransi Gupta, I want to know how we are creating the promote by passing those parameters. Can you show the code algorithm for it? How we are creating? I think promote is not, there is no algorithm, right? We creating promote as per our understanding, right?
He meant this prompt, right?
Yeah.
Register story.
So that maybe refined, na? Maybe in the AI, you need maybe prompt engineer who are creating the good prompt. So that is that kind of thing.
I had to refine it a little bit. So because I wanted to have only the function, so I said this. Then I wanted.
So I think she's asking how we creating it. This prompt.
It is from in the code. See, in the code, it is just a it's a simple thing, right? So once you know the format, all you do is just you concatenate these strings, right? So generate only a function, then I'll be using this. So I'll just merge these strings and create this entire prompt, and I'll put it in the success message. The difficult part is actually this prompt itself, right? What prompt I should create? For that, you need to be a little bit careful about. I mean, there you need to do some R&D. Okay, you need to try it because this GitHub Copilot is good. As I said, it always gives you good results, but you have to be very accurate in giving the prompt. Then only you get the result you want. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
So that sorry, this is Ram actually. I mean the prompt also you are sending via the smart contract. What's the prompt should be?
The prompt is generated. So this is the prompt, no?
Mm.
So currently, as I said, I'm showing at the backend level. So I'm doing the copy paste work manually. But in the real time, when it is all integrated, when this thing runs, right? When the story is registered, the CI/CD pipeline will pick this up directly from here. No, it will pick up this, and it will pass it to the GitHub Copilot. again, we don't have to pass it here exactly, no? So when we are doing the fully automated way, we can take that prompt and pass it to this GitHub Copilot
Okay.
via feeder function, right?
Feeder
Something
function. Okay.
that
So,
feeder
I think,
function.
I think they registered story is a one function they written in the backend code, and that
This is the
backend code
function.
gets some your input parameter like say story name, company, wallet, other thing, and that function create the promote which you can pass to the GitHub Copilot to create a smart contract.
So this
Exactly.
hash function automatically able to get the data, is it? Using this hash,
This
if I'm not wrong,
hash
that's a hash.
function, okay. So hashing again in also Golang or Node.js, whatever you want to use, it has hashing capabilities. No, it
Hmm,
has hashing function, so
okay.
you can hash it. That's okay. See here, I'm showing it outside using this. I mean this URL.
Hmm,
Otherwise,
okay.
Node.js or Golang both have hashing functions. You can
So
hash.
vice versa. So if you give hash, then you get the same data what you hashed, is it?
No, no, no. So
So
that is the beauty of SHA-256. Na? You cannot,
uh-huh.
so it is one directional. You cannot
Okay.
get back this. So if you have
Uh-huh.
this, you cannot get back this. That is not
Okay,
possible.
okay,
It
okay.
is always one direction. I mean, that is the whole thing why SHA-256
Okay.
is really used in all password
Because I
encryption.
still confused how this environment file, the data which is going to the gig worker, so he is going to do with the help of the file.
See,
He's
we are
able to.
only checking. So I got your question now. See,
Uh,
what we do is we don't use this and get the original test case back. Okay. So now let's say take this example, unit test content. This is my hash. So this hash I got here, right? So I put my unit tests here and I got this hash. Okay. I use this hash and now that is in the smart contract. So
yep.
what this is ensuring, so now I'm never going to go back using this and get my unit test cases. That is not needed. What this is ensuring is later on when the gig worker completes the work. So again, it is the feeder application. Okay. So the gig worker, so if you look at the full picture, no, the gig worker will complete the work, then he will go to the company. Okay. And he'll say that, okay, now I'm done the work and these are the unit test cases I executed. And this is the number, this is the environment I did. Okay. And then all the company has to do is take that and pass it to our system. We'll again rehash it. So what we'll do is we will again hash whatever the gig worker comes to us at the time of
Mhm.
payment. Okay.
Okay.
We'll again hash, and if the gig worker changed anything, this hash will change. That is how we
Okay.
ensure that
Okay.
at the time of payment, if you made any change to what was agreed,
Okay.
that is caught and you don't get paid. Okay.
Right. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Hi Rajesh, this is Satpal.
Uh,
So I have worked on this fabric also and on LLM also. So I have general question like here you are using LLM basically to generate the smart contract and dynamically you are putting on the fabric. So that is the case I can see, I can imagine.
yeah, yeah.
So this and but your this smart contract is not of having variable things na. So you can use the template, simple template language. You can put a template of this smart contract and at runtime while calling this copilot, why not to use it from there? Means I am not seeing a generic way why we use LLM here. This smart contract code is fixed. Okay, in more or less form.
Hmm.
I have used this strategy already. So we have used the dynamic smart contract in a template at a runtime. What parameters are coming sit inside those template engine, and it gives me the smart contract and runtime. I'm not able to judge like why we are using Copilot here for this scenario. Like rather than it has been the case that more than the smart contract runs dynamically by reading some generic text. That makes sense for me that we are using LLM. But here things are fixed.
Okay, so I got your point. So we had actually thought about, in fact, we had debated on this point much earlier when we were doing this design. No, so your point is valid. That why do we need this dynamic deployment? I mean, you can always have a fixed story. You just pass a parameter, and then uh, that story will execute based on the parameters. Okay, so that way, then we don't have to, of course, do any dynamic deployment. But we had some pros and
Rajesh,
cons.
Rajesh, I mean to say dynamic deployment. I am agree because you need a dynamic smart contract, and after the this betting is done or you say payment is done, you want to test the smart contract. That makes sense to me. But my point is that for deploying the dynamic contact, you are going to LLM for Copilot to generate this piece of code. That is the only work you are doing with the LLM. But I am saying the generating of this smart contract piece of code, you can directly do it. Why to go for LLM? See, I can imagine the thing you are going for LLM to generate the code if something is variable. But in your case, everything is fixed. You need only two parameters like from account to account and then basic check. So I am not able to get that thing.
Okay, so that answer is obviously we wanted to generalize this because initially we are using this because you're right. I mean, a lot of these things are fixed. I mean, the only changes which happen is this from and to account. Otherwise, if you look
Yeah,
at
yeah.
prompt, everything else is fixed. But now that we have this template, so I think this was one of the questions earlier also that can we expand this to many other use cases where things can become variable also. So we wanted
Correct.
to create a
So,
template, a working thing which we can then enhance, improve upon. We can always change. See, this prompt also comes from our code only, no? This prompt.
and Satpal, so this is a starting point, but let's say here we are paying or not paying, but in the future there could be many such conditions. Let's say uh, 70% work is done. So
Exactly,
all
huh?
this condition we
And
need to be figure out. So
huh,
and then
correct.
every
Mhm.
story we defining this parameter could be changed.
Because what I found is these things really work very well. See, like this simple English statement, no? Do not allow sender account balance to become negative. Okay, it is doing everything in the coding. Okay, we
Correct,
just tell
correct.
this.
So
Now,
here we can
huh,
write maybe suppose if 70% work done, then pay the
huh,
70%. This
such
can
things
be also
also.
added.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that I can imagine. Yeah, if some variable things are there which come in future, then makes sense. Yeah, agree.
that is in the next version, which where we'll have a lot of variable stuff. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh.
Yeah, thanks.
So any more question at that? No, I think there is no question.
Okay, good. So yeah, so hope this was useful. I mean, uh, so as I said, this is a starting point. It really, even I was very impressed with the Copilot that it worked well. All I need to do was only give this prompt, and even if you make changes to the prompt, it will recognize it. It will change the code. So this way, we can say that this Gen AI is very powerful in terms of doing this dynamic deployments, dynamic generation of chain code, and will help us a lot in terms of faster development. Okay.
Okay, so if there is no more question, then I think we can wrap up. I think this recording will be available on Hyperledger India and Hyperledger YouTube channel.
Sure.
You can have a look from there if you miss to join.
Okay. So thanks again, everyone, and again, thanks for joining on a weekend, and hope this was useful. And yeah, and let's develop and collaborate further. Thanks a lot.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.